Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my midday market update. It is Thursday, August 13th. We are 2 days away from my birthday. I'm getting really excited. Gonna do a big Mexican meal for my birthday, and I cannot wait. Today, I am going to have actually Dan from Trendspider on. So we're going to see how this works out, trying to do a Zoom meeting to share him and have him come in. So we will see how that all works out. And if you guys are new to my channel, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so we can go ahead and rock this. So let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and finish setting up everything. Everything is muted and we should be good on that end. So let me go ahead and switch it on over. All right. So a reminder, if you guys have not seen it, hey, Bat Scientist, Asa, if you guys have not seen it already, I lost the image. So my birthday is coming up on Saturday, and a gift to you guys, I'm giving you 43% off my watch list subscription on my website at CJane Trade. So welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining me today, guys. All right. And what do you guys think? From Jane's Kitchen. You guys think that's a good name for my umbrella brand for my hot sauce? I'm going to name the hot sauce individually. I don't know. I kind of like it. So right now, we are going to go ahead and close that and minimize this. Okay, okay, all right. We'll just put that over here. All right, good, got that going. All right, so we're up at the top. Now, you guys know that I have started to use Flow Trade, which I think is awesome as well. I've got that on my other computer over here. So checking that out. Rocked it today, paper trading the E-mini futures, and I'm going to be doing a live demo tomorrow. I do have it on a separate computer, so I cannot pull it up on this screen, but some amazing things. So you guys like that from Jane's Kitchen? We'll see. I don't know. I think Twitter came back with a resounding no. Let's go see what happened on my Twitter poll, what the resolution was there. People liked it or they didn't like it. So far it's a no with 30 votes. So go ahead and vote if you guys have not voted there. All right, so we're up here. I had on my watch list, I've started adding SPY levels to watch as well. I had 337.60 as the level to go ahead and watch. And sure enough, it broke it. Now we're really testing that 338 level. Seeing some algorithm information right now that we could potentially be moving on up here. So actually going to go ahead and do a call on my phone. Go ahead and I will likely get into a call right here. Seeing what looks like algo buyings at the moment. So 2 seconds, pardon me while I get in. All right. And so for the SPY overall, we're on our 5-minute chart right here. Let's go ahead and back it up. We have some, oh, I don't know who that is, but my husband is outside cutting the grass, so we will just let him do that. I'm trying to do too many things at once. When Jane's Kitchen will go public, I will trade on earnings. Hopefully, we'll rock it, right? I think it'd be a great one. All right. And done. In on it. Okay. So Jane's Kitchen is an umbrella brand, especially if you're making more than one hot sauce. Yes, I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, hello, I can make chocolate sauce, I could make queso sauce, I could even potentially do a salsa in there. Lots of good things. All right. So let's look at the SPY. Right now, we are back on our weekly chart. We are hitting the area of highs in the past. Yeah, we'll look at Tesla as well, Awakened Soul. Also have Dan, again, from Trendspider coming on in 9 minutes. You know, hi, Dr. P. Yeah, I was thinking, you know, like Frank's hot, Jane's hot. But then I thought, oh, maybe that wouldn't be the best. Hey, Julio, how's it going? Okay, so back here, we're right here at 338. So you guys can see we're right up at the top back here. We had 339.08. That was the high right there. So we're getting to that area. Lots of potential movement, maybe. I'm thinking potentially we're going to come up here and hit 343 right there. So we shall see. Jane's Saucy Kitchen. Don't like it so much. Sorry, bad scientist. So keeping that in mind, looking at these things, looking at the fact that we keep testing it. I'm watching a little bit of high frequency algo over here that I'm watching. And we've got Microsoft as well, right? Microsoft came down to the bottom bound down here, and now it almost looks like an upside down head and shoulders. You guys see that on the 15-minute chart, right? And then potentially on up, right? And when we look at Apple, again, Apple is breaking out. We had a bit of a bull flag yesterday. If you guys didn't check it out, I was on Stock Charts, the final bar as well. We have a trend line right here. Actually, we'll go ahead and we'll do a parallel channel. So right here, right down here, and we've broken above it. Look at how it actually respected it as highs right here. And now, so hey, are we going to go ahead and pull on up here? Yep. I'll check it out. Let's check it. Let's look at Tesla. So I was watching Tesla as well. Looks like maybe there's some potential selling on the algorithm up here, up at the 1637 area. There was some other activity back in July up there at 1639. So if we can go ahead and close above 1639, a good chance it could be ripping higher. Otherwise, it might go down. So again, flow trade. We're going to check out flow trade. I'm going to do it. Maybe I'll do it live tomorrow. What do you guys think? You guys want me to do it live tomorrow at 12:15 for flow trade? Yes or no? Let me know. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? So Fastly, it looks like we're hitting a trend line here that I have from somewhere. Let's go back to the daily chart. So it looks like it was potentially a good entry there, Julio. We have this upward trend line that was holding as our support, and it bounced off of it. It was also the 50-day simple moving average right there. And yeah, it looks like it's pulled back. Now, I don't know as far as dark pool activity, if it's gone up from there. So yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. Even though Buffett is great, he's a billionaire, everything like that, how about the market is irrational? It's going to go ahead and do what it's going to do, and that's it. All we have to do is trade the chart technically. Fastly looks like a great little pullback right here. Came down to a support level and bounced off the 50 simple moving average. Looks like you might have some testing up here at a prior level up there. So keep that in mind, Julio. You might get stuck up there at that 87.30 area right here. So just keep that on watch, right? And so when we look at indexes, right, we're looking at the SPY that has all these major holdings in it. And we've got Microsoft up, Apple up, Amazon up. Look at on the top, like 30%. Okay, these are down some, but for the most part, these are really surging to the upside. It is 500 stocks. Qs are up definitely bigger with these holdings that are lifting it up. Again, we're testing a high right there. Is this going to be a little handle, right? A little, we had a bit of a, we had 3 black crows, and then we went ahead and reversed off of the 21 simple moving average. If you also look at the Apple chart, again, it's very similar. However, we are up again, we're surging up again, up above this. So watching those two and looking at that, it looks like we are really in an upward trend. We're just not breaking it at this point in time. We have seen large amounts of dark pool activity. However, when we look back at the SPY overall, right? What happens many times when you see a correction, right? We were up here, we were testing around, we came up, we tested it. They took it up here to January. What did they do? They pulled it back and then took it even higher and then dropped it. So we're starting to see some big dark pool activity. No wonder we're up at the top. Maybe these are shorts that are getting out and they're going ahead and covering, saying, oh, it's never going to get up here while the market's irrational, right? It came and it bounced right back up. Or are they going to sell up here? We don't know, but we know that we're starting to see a lot of activity across the board. We're also seeing this, right? This is our weekly chart. So we're going to the upside and less people seem like they're getting into it at the moment. Of course, mass is right here. Now, if we start to see the volume go back up and then we see the price action drop, it could be a secondary drop in the market right there. All right. So you wanted to look, we did look at Tesla. So let me delete these right here. All right, let's go back to my list over here for the day. All right, so I had Yandex on here as well. Yandex is pretty much like the Chinese Google. So Yandex is a big one for people getting listed on their websites in China. I'm personally skeptical about buying Chinese stocks for the simple fact of like Luckin Coffee right here, right? Well, look at what happened. It got downgraded, downlisted, went from 51 down to 22 because of this right here. This is when they were delisted because they weren't following the proper reporting practices. So that makes me really skeptical. Also, I think it was Elfin way back when Elfin was around. And this, I believe, is also a Chinese company, and it skyrocketed. It went up crazy, and then all of a sudden, 81, and then it went down to 45, right? So seeing that happen as well, I believe this is another Chinese one. So I'm just extra skeptical of stocks that are from foreign companies that are not American, as in North America, US, or Canadian stocks. I just tend to be a little more skeptical because they don't tend to always report. But Yandex had earnings today and it was up. SLC, not one that I wanted. I had gold and silver. They seem to be squeezing a little bit today. We're on a weekly chart. Let's go back here. So we do have a gap to fill for gold as well, 183 on up to 190. And we also have Uber right here. We did have some dark pool activity yesterday on Uber, so definitely keeping this one on watch. And oh, it's so funny. I start talking about these securities, and then all of a sudden the dark pool jumps in at the same time with a print that we can see. Oh, that's so sad, Asif. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So silver, we have some dark pool activity as well. We also have what looks like a bit of a bear trap setting up. And if you look back at 2008 for silver, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to the all-time for the chart. What happened? 2008, we were up here, dropped down in 2009, and then it surged, right? In 3 years, so 2.5 years, went from 845 up to 4835. Okay, so I do have Dan here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this over. Let's see if we can go ahead and make this work. All right, guys, so let me unmute myself. Hey, Dan, can you hear me?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Now, hold on 2 seconds. Let me just get the screen up. For some reason, it's recording, but I don't see any screen. Nope, I don't want to share my screen.
Should I share a screen?
Yeah, can you share a screen? And then you can also walk through whatever because you are live on my channel right now.
We're live. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't realize
No worries.
right into it. Okay.
I figured out how to make it go live. It's okay. I prepped everyone that this was the first time for doing this. So I kept you in the little green room over there.
Okay, I would love to share a screen, but it says I can't. It says
share screen. Okay, hold on. 2 seconds. Let me see. Participants. And let me give you more ability make host. How about that? And now you should be able to share a screen.
All right. Hi everybody. Let me do that, and I will show you guys around Trendspider. Is there a chat or a way people can ask questions?
Yeah, I have a chat going on YouTube, so I can let you know there if I have any questions if people are coming in.
Yeah, let me know if anybody has any questions. Should I just assume that everybody's brand new to Trendspider here?
Yep, pretty much everyone. Well, I do my posts every morning, so people do see that as well, where I do post my charts that I'm sharing.
Okay.
And I can see your screen great, so we can see you and we can hear you. So we are all good to go.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you, Jane, for having me here. Thank everybody for listening to me. I hope that I blows some minds and show you some really cool things that can actually help you as a trader, right? Because Trendspider is, it's not just another trading tool. There's a million different trading tools, and you can really get charts anywhere. I mean, Jane will tell you that, right? There are like hundreds of different ways you can get charts. And we didn't want to just build another charting tool. We wanted to build something that was unique and actually useful for people who actually trade. So this is trading software built by traders for traders and trading or was trading right before I hopped on here. So let me show you at a high level some of the cool things, and then we'll see if anyone has any questions. Um, as I mentioned, Trendspider is a lot more than just a chart, right? So I'm going to pull up a random stock of a Kellogg. Look at this chart, and I'll show you some of the things that it can do, right? Like obviously you can draw on the chart, right? You can add trend lines, you can add indicators, right? All of that kind of stuff. I'm not going to spend much time on it, but you can also have the system do a lot of the grunt work for you. For example, we can have the system automatically analyze charts for trends. The way that it does this is really interesting. It actually will find up to 1,600 possible trend lines on a chart. It'll try to connect every peak and every valley automatically for you. It'll then go through every line that it finds on a chart and filter it down based on how often price has bounced off it, how often price has broken through it, and so forth. So that at the end of all this analysis, you end up with something very cool, right? And then you can further clean it up yourself by like just holding shift and clicking on a few extra lines if you want to remove some. But you'll see it'll find trend lines for you very effectively, right? And this is one of the ways that it saves you time because it will do this using a rule-based system that you can customize, right? So you can analyze charts for trends your way, not our way, right? We actually pretend that we even have a better way than most people do, right? It's a customizable process. It can also do other things. It can find Fibonacci levels for you, right? I just turn on auto fibs and it will measure, the most recent completed move for a fib extension or retracement, whichever is appropriate. And you can, like I just did, go in and customize that as well, right? It'll find patterns on your chart too. So if you have, certain types of patterns you look for, like hammers, right, things like that, it can highlight those as well for you, right? The idea here being that you can replace manual stuff that is really kind of a pattern recognition function with a computer that is much better equipped to do that type of pattern recognition. Because a computer can take into account huge amounts of data all at once, right? And it can pay attention to a lot of different charts at one time, whereas you as a person are not only limited in terms of attention, but you're inconsistent in your execution. Like some people may zoom in, do their analysis, switch symbols, and forget to zoom out, right? And then they analyze a different number of candles the second chart they look at, right? People do all kinds of stuff like that. Trendspider makes you more efficient by doing it for you the same exact way every single time, right? And you can see on this chart exactly what that means, right? Between this vertical line and this vertical line is 320 candles. That's the most recent 320, and that's what Trendspider finds and analyzes for you, right? Which makes your life a lot easier. That's some of the technical stuff, and there's a lot of it, so I don't want to spend too much time on it because I want to show you guys the market scanner and raindrops, some of the really cool things in Trendspider. But I just want to highlight that this is meant to save you time, and it's meant to make it easy for you to create alerts, right? So like if you were, for whatever reason, looking at this Kellogg chart here and thinking that this is going to either break down, right, and get it down, or it's going to rally up and break out, right? You can actually right-click on these levels and create an alert, right? And you can say, hey, alert me if price ever happens to break through this line. And I want to know the moment it happens, so alert me when a 10-minute candle breaks through this daily trend line, and watch this line for however many days you want, right? And then go on with your life, right? You basically just pull the computer to watch a chart for you for something that you care about to happen. And this may be 2 weeks from now, and this may have bounced up and then come back down another 2 times before it breaks down, right? So the point I'm trying to get across is you wouldn't have to sit there and stare at that, right? Like you wouldn't have to go and readjust a manual alert and thinkorswim or interactive brokers, as this trend line moves, so the alert goes with it, right? Like this alert is tied to this slope trend line. It'll follow its slope and it'll go off automatically whenever price breaks through it. And that doesn't just work on trend lines, right? It works on horizontal levels, on fib levels. It works on Bollinger Bands, right? Like if you want to get an alert when price breaks through a Bollinger Band level or touches a Bollinger Band level, right? You can create a buffer zone around it, and you'll notice that this follows that line everywhere that line goes, which again allows you to outsource monitoring charts to a computer in the cloud. And if you're a trader who has a day job or a life outside of trading and you cannot sit there and stare at 100 charts all day long, this lets you watch them anyway, right? And you could be downstairs getting some coffee, right, or whatever, right? And alert goes off. You don't even have to be at your computer, and you don't even have to have Trendspider open, right? Because the alerts live in the cloud and they go off from the cloud.
Hey Dan, can you put it on Netflix for us to see? Someone had requested seeing Netflix.
Yeah, I'd love to pull up Netflix. There's actually a good chance really to highlight one thing here. You'll notice that this analysis on Netflix is dated. That's because the last time I looked at Netflix chart was last year, right? August 2019. It's been a long time. So all I have to do is click on the little refresh button, which tells Trendspider to reanalyze that chart, right? So when I push refresh, it took a fresh look at this chart. I can then go and tune it a little bit if I want to, right? I can like zoom into the other types of filters, right? And say, okay, I want this line to stay. I just double click on it. And then I can flip back here, right? You see how quickly I'm cleaning up this chart? I'm just getting rid of some extra lines of system stock that aren't really relevant right now.
Hey
right?
Dan.
And there you go. Now I have a very clean Netflix chart here. And now, like, I honestly, like, I don't think Netflix is ever going to go down in a meaningful way. Like, I can't think of a more stable revenue base as a business. So, like, I naturally feel bullish in my bias here. I don't know what you guys are thinking, right? And I haven't spent a lot of time on it. But, like, what I would do is I would create an alert on this line here and say, okay, I'm really bullish when price breaks through this level. And I like to get an intraday alert, but since I'm on a daily chart, I have to tell it to alert me when the 15-minute candle opens and closes on opposite sides of that line. And I have to also tell it that I want it to just that line to go through, right? And then I can have it watch it. I don't think it can possibly take more than a few days for that alert to go off, right? Unless it breaks down. And I've just created an alert. You'll see a little label there. And then I'm going to create another alert on this blue line here, right? Just in case I'm wrong and it's actually going to go down, right? The same exact style of alert. This way, it doesn't matter what it does, and I don't have to guess. I can let the market come to me. Whatever the market decides to do, I'm going to get notified here, right? Like there's only 2 ways to go, and there's only, a certain number of days that it has left before one of these things is going to be true, right? And why am I going to sit there with this chart on my screen all day? I can just have Trendspider watch this, right, for me. And I mean, just to beat that point in a little more, I'll add my alerts to the side here. Because I mean, you guys can see I live by this, right? Like I have 60 active alerts right now. That
Dan, quick question. What
Yeah.
time does your data flow start coming in? 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m.?
Our data flow is real time on New York Stock Exchange hours. So whenever the New York Stock Exchange is trading, we're getting data. That includes pre and post market. I don't actually know specific time that is, right? But I know like at 6 a.m. when I'm up, like I don't see trades. We're in the middle of upgrading our data too. It's going to get a lot better. We're going to be adding like additional markets and better feeds for the current markets, especially pre and post market. Because right now the pre and post market data is from BATS, right? And we all know BATS is a little bit you know, choppy price action when there's not a lot of activity going on in the pre and post hours. So we're going to be getting rid of BATS for that and replacing it with a direct feed from IC, which is going to be much better. So, you know, one thing I forgot to point out, when you double click on a line in Trendspider, it locks that line in place, right? It turns it into a drawing, so then you can turn auto trends off, and you can just have your clean analysis of the lines you actually only care about here, right? This actually is a beautiful chart. I really hope this goes off. I actually want to trade this if Netflix breaks out again.
You can thank you can thank Julio for that.
Well, so I owned Netflix when it was trading at $90, right? And I remember selling it because I didn't want to hold it over earnings, right? And then you know, earnings happened and it like popped to like 120, and I was like, okay, well now I'm not going to chase it. Right? Like it was one of the worst trading decisions I've made in my life. It's trading at 480 now, right? Like I could have bought it right back, lost that $20, and been the happiest man in the world.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
emotional thing there. I was like, I don't want to chase it, right? And then I was pissed that I didn't went so far, so I stopped looking at it. Me and Netflix have a love-hate relationship.
Got it. Now I have another question. Is someone saying with the extended hours trading sessions, do you have an option of turning on and off the extended trading hours for, you know, assessing the trend lines, or it's automatically built in automatically with the trend lines because that is all the data possible?
No, there's a little green button right here that turns on and off extended hours. That if you go intraday, you can see what that looks like, right? These grayed out areas are the extended hours section, right? So I mean, you can definitely turn it on and off. You can draw trend lines with it on and off, right? You know, the only thing is if you draw a trend line with extended hours on, and any part of that line starts or stops during the extended hours session, you won't see that line when you turn extended hours off. It'll disappear with the extended hours session because there's no points to connect it to, right? Because one of the points is hidden on this chart. Also, the other thing is Raindrop Charts, which is what I wanted to show you guys next.
Love those.
It's a fascinating, amazing thing that will change your life if you not pay attention to this. Does not work with extended hours, right? The data is too choppy. When we upgrade our data, it will, and I'm super excited for that because a lot of important things happen in the pre and post sessions, right? In fact, like you know, it's a back test. In fact, if you buy the open and sell the close every day, you will do way worse than if you buy the close and sell the following open.
Yeah.
Right. Owning overnight is the best time if you want to have volatility when the big move really happens. A lot of symbols and a lot of indices. So I'm excited to get that, and Raindrop will then work in that, which will allow you to get really good volume analysis on extended hours data. You use a lot of Raindrops, Jane?
I do and I don't. I've also discovered, I mean, you know, I follow the dark pool. So I'm looking at where the dark pool levels are in relation to the close and the volume as well. So I do in a sense because I also like the volume profile on the chart, which is pretty much what the raindrop is, incorporating it into that actual candle.
Yes.
So it's cool for that reason. But honestly, at the close, I haven't really been in front of my computer lately because of the kids being home with quarantine. So I can't say that recently, in the past 6 months, I've been using it for that reason because I haven't really been in front of my computer at close.
Okay. So I love these. I think they're one of those things that give you a lot of information that needs to be a little simplified. First, I'll explain what these are, right? For those who don't know it, each raindrop represents a period of time, just like a candle, right? So daily charts will represent a day, just like a candle. They have a high and a low, just like a candle, right? That's where the similarities stop them. They do not have an open or closed price, right? And they have a completely different shape, right? And the reason for that is each raindrop is actually split in half. The left side of the raindrop represents the first half of that period. So this is a daily chart. So the left side represents the first 3.25 hours of the day, right? And the right side represents the other 3.25 hours of the day, right? If we're a 1 hour chart, they each represent a half hour, and so forth. And the blobs represent where the buyers and sellers were. It is the volume profile for that half, rotated 90 degrees and converted into an area chart, right? It's really that's all it is. So it's showing where the buyers and sellers were. And the shape, the dashes represent the volume weighted average price, right? The VWAP for that particular day, right? Or that particular hour or whatever you're on. When the right VWAP is below the left VWAP, they're red. When the opposite is true, they're green, or in my case, white, because I'm a weirdo. I don't like green in my charts. And then when the VWAPs are the same, right, all day long, they're blue, like you had on Netflix yesterday, right? And blue is, if everybody here knows what a doji is, right, like a candlestick with the open and closed being the same price. This is a volume-weighted doji. It is a sign of a large amount of indecision, if that makes any sense, right? Like for this to happen with something like Netflix probably traded, I don't know, 1 million shares or something that day, right? For that amount of volume to end with everybody paying the same price on balance is rare, right? So we look at that as signs of indecision, and what we look for is where does the raindrop form, right? Is there because the raindrop implies that the market is about to pop one way or another, like there's going to be volatility coming soon, right? So we need something else to tell us which way that volatility is more likely to go, right? So one way to do that is to look at trend lines, right, and indicators, right? Like depending on how you draw your trend lines on this chart, like it's at. Oops, sorry, didn't do that. Need to do this, right? Like it's at a previous low. It could probably go up, right? Like this is just telling you it's going to go somewhere, right? In the past, when you've seen blue dojis form on Netflix, you can see just by looking back, right? You have a cluster of them form during this consolidation at the bottom. You had a run up. You had one form here, then a consolidation and pull back. You had one form here, a low consolidation and a run up, right? A run up, the one that formed here, but a small pullback, right? So they're when they form, they're meaningful. They're really rare because they're very hard to form. Only 4% of all raindrops end up being blue. And when you see them, right, they're very interesting. Like Netflix here, based on it forming after that sell-off, based on it being above this previous high and this previous blue thing, I'm going to guess it's going to break out, right? And actually, I created an alert earlier on this line because I think it will. And we'll see, because blue means market's stalling out and indecisive at this point, right? Like it's got to go one way or the other at some point, and that pent-up aggression is like a spring clearing up. So I'm a huge fan of these. I definitely suggest you play with them. The first time you create a raindrop and switch to Raindrop Charts, it'll give you a link to our website, which has a white paper that explains exactly how they're built, right? So there's no there's no mystery to them, right? There's no hocus pocus. We tell you exactly how they're constructed so you can see how they work. And Jane, you mentioned your volume profile a lot.
Yeah. And I also have another idea for you, maybe something that you could implement, and it could be our special raindrop, but with short volume built into it. So it's like a thermometer where you have the red is the short volume. I know you don't like green, so we can leave the top white. But that way it shows you how much volume out of that day was short.
It's funny you mentioned that. We're like literally negotiating for short data right now.
You can get it for free. You just go to FINRA. I can give you the link.
Please do.
It's a spreadsheet. It's a spreadsheet. Well, it would be end of day type scenario, so people could look at it for assessing their overall trades for that.
Let me take a look at that. We're
Yeah.
trying to get like real time.
Yeah.
You know, but if there's a free option, I mean, we'll definitely take a look at that too.
Oh yeah, it would only be on dailies then, but it could be really interesting. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Volume profile.
Let me show you. I've fallen in love with some new volume profile stuff lately.
Awesome.
I think you like it a lot. Let me show you this. So have you used this? It's the very last drawing tool. It's called Draw Volume by Price in Trendspider.
I have to play around with it a lot more.
Okay, so there's two volume profile tools, right? One of them is what we call anchored volume profile, right? This lets you move this line that I'm moving side by side to an anchor point. So you can say, what is the volume profile from the high, right? And you can see that's the volume profile from this day, right? Or you can go to low, right? You know, or any day, like some people like to be like the first of the year, right? So this is one way to do that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And really, you just move around and say, okay, I wonder what the volume profile is from this point in time. It fully supports pre and post market, especially in this special time frame called session. And you can see how volume shelves are building. Like there's consolidation here, a rally, there's consolidation here, you know, and it's actually bouncing off of this yellow line, which is the VWAP from this point. These VWAPs are something that's blown my mind lately, right? So this is one way to do it. That's fun, and you know, fun to play with. My favorite way though is to draw it manually using this tool here. And the way this works is you want to start, you want to measure a completed move, like an impulsive move, but you want to capture as little consolidation from that move as possible, right? So you're like, if you think about it, if it's a move down, right, you're trying to figure out where were the people catching the knife, right? Or trying to catch the knife on the move down and on the way up. Where were the people who FOMO'd in, right? Who like piled into this trade as it was rallying, right? Like you're trying to avoid the people who bought consolidation or sold consolidation, right? So here's how this works, right? You start on the candle before, right? And go to the one right after.
Nice.
And the yellow line will be your volume weighted average price for that move, right? And the red line is going to be your point of control.
Beautiful.
And I've found that one of these lines is almost always super predictive, right? And here you can see, you know, when it's sold off, this is literally where it bounced.
That's so super cool.
Right. I mean, I've not seen anything in my 10 plus years of trading that has been this effective at picking levels. Right. It works like a fib retracement. You know, like this one, it's not perfect, right? Fibs usually aren't, but the VWAP from this rally up was your resistance, full top, resistance, and still pull back, right? You know, and as you measure this, right, you can just adjust it, measure different zones, you know, and you try to see where you know have a level, you know, that you can actually trade on. So I do that, and then I create alerts, right? And it's like, okay, let me know when price breaks above. But when price breaks above this, you know, volume level here, right? So that, you know, then I know that it's a bullish thing. And when you do this in the opposite direction of your trade, right? So if you want to go long, you measure the move short, right? It gives you a legit breakout level. Just pick the highest one, right? So you can see, like, when I was pulling back here, right? Like, if you wanted a more for sure trade, right? You had two levels to choose from. You had the VWAP and the point of control, and they both served as launching pads, right? Like you see, as price rallied up, when it pulled back, it launched up the VWAP the first time, pulled back a second time, and launched up the point of control, right? You can give me any symbol. I think this is from Netflix, and this will prove out.
Let's do Gbtc, since Bitcoin's so active as well. Yeah, let's see if it's.
Let's look at it. Right, so I've actually looked at this a long time ago. Everything. Yeah, so yeah, this is a great chart. Let's start this big move up. Okay. And it's one thing I haven't figured out yet, right? So like, what's the role of gaps in this? Like, should you avoid gaps or not? But I mean, you know, depending on your philosophy, you would, either ignore this island or not. I'm doing them both.
Right.
Right. So when you ignore it, you've got a perfect top, right? Almost perfect within a few cents and pull back to this line, right? And then we can switch this here, right? There we go. And you have basically where it gapped up to, and you have almost the whole gap actually.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's not going to be like exact, but you can see like it picks levels very well. This has completely blown my mind, and I'm not sure. Maybe like this is probably the better way to do this. I'm not sure. Maybe not.
Yeah, that actually goes right to the middle of that candlestick. Yeah, there you go.
And then you can measure it on the way up, right, as well, and say, okay, where's it going to pull back to, right? Like likely not going to go too much lower than it's pulled back here, right?
Super
if
cool.
it does, then these levels are the ones you watch, and if it doesn't hold those, then these, right? It makes it really easy to pick these.
Another one. I got another one for you. Silver, because everyone's watching silver.
SLD, yes. Silver. Let's check it out. Look at this on a... Crazy. Absolutely insane. I just put this volume profile on. Right? That way I don't have to draw it, and we can just take the current action. But yeah, your VWAP is all the way down here at $18.
Yep.
Right. So I mean, and then your point of control is down here at 16. And this
which is roughly where we had dark pool prints.
Yeah. So and that would not surprise me if the smart money came in, like down here. I mean, you can see like there's the biggest amount of volume here. And remember, I'm only measuring it from the bottom. None of this consolidation is taking place, so all of this buying happens in this consolidation. All right. If we move this line a little bit more.
Is it best to do it on weekly or daily charts for that, would you say?
I go both. I just looked at this chart and thought, gosh, this is crazy move. Maybe I'll look at it on the weekly, but we can look at it on the daily too, right? I mean, it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? But what I was trying to do is I really like to avoid consolidation, right? I'm trying to just catch the most impulsive part of the move. So if that's what you're measuring here, slightly different story, right? Because you would be measuring like this, right? And that's actually exactly where it's pulled back to, right? So it's pulled back to this level here, right? Which is the VWAP from this big move up.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I found this to be, this could be pretty bullish, right? And then you might want to say, okay, well, I wonder what happens next, but there isn't enough history on the daily chart to do it. So I'm going to zoom out to the 65-minute chart and measure it from the high, right? And say, okay, it's got to overcome this right here. It's got to get over 25, right? Which is a point of control, which is right where it's trading right now. But then you have a volume point, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's really traded here, so it'll probably fly right through this right now until it gets up here. When there's people who bought it up here who might want to get out.
Yeah, the bag holders up there.
Yep. And this is a great way to see where they are, right? And if you measure this in a little different way, like just measure this move, right? Like you can see there's actually a lot of bag holders right where we are right now, which is why we're facing some resistance here, right? Because this is the VWAP and the POC from the this move down.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
So I'm really big fans of using volume this way because it lets you see where buyers and sellers are. It makes picking levels very easy. I mean, Tesla is another really cool example. You can see on Tesla, right? This is bullish as shit, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of volume up here. People are buying. So it takes two to buy and sell. If there were no buyers, right? This would continue to move up.
Right.
So sellers it really moves straight up. So there's people buying it and pushing it straight down. Buying through this is kind of crazy. So we can then say, okay, I wonder how much more bag holders there are up there. And when you zoom out like this, there aren't any, right? You can see the volume goes really down. There was not a lot of buying up here. There's so much more down here that's just building a base, right? And when all the people who want to sell shares get bought up here, there's none of them left, right? Like, who's going to be selling, right? It's all going to be people taking profits on it, which is fewer than those trying to get out. Um, so I'm, take that plus a split and a bunch of Robinhood money flying in. Tesla's going to go pretty far, I think.
Yeah. Well, I've seen, some projections all the way up to 4,000.
Yeah.
And right now we've got the SPY breaking above 338 on its way up to 339.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm buying, as much as I hate fighting the charts, I'm buying puts on the way up. At some point, like, it's got to pull back. But, any other volume questions about this?
No other questions as of yet. Right now that you've.
I'll skip some of the rest of the charting stuff because it's a ton of charting stuff, and I really don't want to bore anybody with it. One thing I will say is be sure to, if you play with this, be sure to play with Anchor VWAP. It's crazy. Right click on a candle and create one. Do it on the SPY December 2018 low. If you want to see something really crazy, and then just look, at the next rollback. I do want to show off the market scanner. I know you use trade ideas, Jane. What type of thing do you usually scan for?
Early in the morning, I am scanning pre-market volume, and then I'm also looking at the range for where it falls within the year and overall lifetime.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the stuff that Trade Ideas is really cool for.
Yeah.
This scanner, have you played with it much?
I played around with it a little, but honestly, with the kids home, there's so many more things I would love to get done, but I'd say I usually have about 4 hours of my day to work, and the rest of it's family time.
Yeah, my kids are home too, so I hear you. So let me show you. This is my favorite scan. It's one of the coolest things out there, in my opinion. Right? If you're looking for like swing trades, and I'm not sure if you're doing a lot of swinging or day trading right now. I've been doing mostly swing trading, and this scan has been just heaven. Right? So what this looks for is 3 candles in a row on the weekly chart that are all inside the previous candle.
Okay.
High to low. Right? So you're looking for like coiling tight consolidation. Right? And I use this against the Russell 2000, with the Nasdaq Composite, right? Just to find, because it's sticky, you don't end up finding a lot. Right? You end up like this time I just ran it on Nasdaq. I found 4 symbols, right? And 2 of them or 3 of them are penny stocks. Only one of them seems to be worth really looking at, right? But what this finds is really tight coiling, right? You can see, like, I think I must have found this one before, but you can see what that looks like, right? Like, it's 3 weeks where it's traded completely within the range of the previous week. And the smaller the time frame you zoom in on, the tighter that consolidation is, and it makes it really easy to draw some trend lines and use auto trends on it, like we have here, and then just create an alert, right? Like, you will find awesome trades this way. You just set an alert, each day to go off and go about your life, right? Look at the next one that is found, zoom in, and do the same thing. There's a bunch of scanners that are really cool like this. This one's my personal favorite. Actually, this is the one I trade off a lot myself regularly. So, I might be a little biased, and you can actually see, like, I've created some alerts on some of these already. But I definitely suggest to play with it. It's one of the coolest things in the world. It's different than the Trade Idea scanner, right? Trade Idea scanner is meant to, like, kind of react to, like, volume in the moment. Like, it's a different type of scanner. This is like Google for charts, right? And the thing is, it works down to 1 minute chart, right? And you can actually combine multiple time frames together, right? So, like, for example, we could have this scan run on the daily chart, but we could have one of these conditions go off the 5-minute chart, one of these conditions off the 1-minute chart. We can even compare things to each other, right? I'm just breaking the scan right now just to show you what it can do. But you can say, like, the 4-minute indicator, Bollinger Band, has crossed down through the indicator. The 4-hour chart, Bollinger Band. That doesn't make any sense, but you get the idea. That you can mix and match different trading conditions, different indicators, different patterns, different time frames together, so that if you have strategy that starts off like mine do, where you start off a long-term chart, but then you're only hoping to really be in the trade for a week or two or 2 days, right? Like the swing is not a day trade, but it's not like a buy and hold thing either, right? You can combine all your factors into one search, right? Once you find a scan that you like, you can just open it as a watch list on the right side, and you can just flip through it, and you can just get an up-to-date, automatically generated watch list at any moment. So I don't know if you ever played with that game, but you definitely should.
Yeah, for sure. It comes down to time in a day.
I hear you. I hear you. I got one more thing, and then if anyone has questions, and I'll leave you guys alone for today.
Awesome.
Do you use seasonality at all?
I do. Yeah, definitely on silver and also on gold and not so much on natural gas, but sometimes on Coca-Cola, stuff like that.
All right, let me pull up. Let's pull up silver. All right, silver's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
So this is our new seasonality tool, right? It's really cool and flexible. First thing you can do is you can dice the data by month, week, day, or hour, right? So you can see by month. Like this is the current month. It's August. We go up 62% of the time in August for the last 14 years, right? You can, if you want to ignore certain years or certain periods of time, you can do that. You can then look at it on a week by week basis. So this is week of the year.
Okay.
Right. Occasionally, depending on how the weeks are structured, right? Like there's a 53rd week some years. This is not fake. It's real.
Right.
It might be only 2 days long, but sometimes it does happen. But this is how it's performed. The best time to own silver is the 28th week of the year, which oddly enough is the best time to own Disney too. This is something I found here that blew my mind. Right? If you look at Disney for the last 11 years, it goes up the 28th week of the year 100% of the time.
Wow.
It has not gone down once. The worst month or week it had was a break-even week, 0.06% gain.
Very right? Cool.
But and that was like 5 or 6 weeks ago. Disney got 4% down, right? So it's pretty awesome to see that actually play out in real time. We saw that the week before. We were like, oh my god, like we should all buy Disney right now. Like some of us actually bought some calls, right? And we saw it play out. It was awesome.
Very cool.
But this is the seasonality. You can dice by week. You can also dice it by day of week. So like if you're a trader, right, you can say, okay, during the last month or since the beginning of July, what was the best day to own Disney, right? And that was Wednesday, right? And the worst day to buy Disney at the open would be Monday, right?
Yeah.
And you can actually look at this on anything, right? You want to see silver, right? There's actually opposite. If you bought silver on open or free market, you would have never lost money in the last month.
Crazy.
Right? On Mondays. So this is data that's really hard for most people to get and understand, right? But you can get this here very easily. You can control what dates are part of it, right? And you can even, let's say that you want to look back a long time, 12 years, but you don't want, 2008, 2012, 2020, or for whatever reason, just to show you can do it, January 2010. Right? You can just type them, and it'll filter them out for you.
Very
right?
cool.
So part of it, and they won't muddy your data at all. You can also view the volatility, right? So by using the mean change percentages and by getting rid of some of these, there you go. By using these two, you can see the relative volatility by months. You can see which months are more volatile than others, right? The inner blob here is the 25th to the 75th percentile of volatility, and the outer blob is the total 100 to 100 volatility, right? So you can see that, you're getting into some treacherous times coming up on the 39th week of the year here with the silver, right? Not only do you not have a lot of spikes in the upside, but you have some huge spikes to the downside, right? So, it's probably a bad time to own silver this fall.
Yes.
Right? And then finally, you can see the raw data. I think I showed you this earlier, but by turning on raw data, each dot represents a week. So,
very cool.
Yeah, that's a tool that a lot of people are new to, right? It's new to Trendspider. We just released it. I'm going to show you one more thing that's new to Trendspider that's really neat. Do you ever look at analysts?
No, you know what? With analysts, I usually do the opposite.
Okay, awesome. I love that you said that. So it's interesting. How do you know which one is a good one to do the opposite? Right? Like it's kind of hard to tell. Um, but check this out. Right? So this is Trendspider's built-in new analyst data. We buy this data from Benzinga. So
Okay.
Benzinga's analyst rating data that you're seeing here. Um, on the right side, you have a list of all analyst recommendations, the current status of them, and this handy little chart that shows you how they're changing their mind, right? Like you can see this guy right here from Cohen and Company was bearish until recently when he changed this to 21 days ago, said that he's now neutral, right? You can see the opposite here, right? This guy who was Dawawi Capital said buy, and then he became neutral also 20 weeks ago. Right? So this chart tells you, like at a glance, who's changing their mind, who's consistent, right? Who's, what their positions are. Right? Under that is a log of the changes by time. It's the most recent at the top. You can see as I move my mouse over this, you notice how the chart, the actual boxes are turning yellow?
Yeah.
Right? That's because I'm highlighting those particular ratings, right? So if I want to see what's Citigroup like saying, right? I can, highlight Citigroup here and see, right? And I can also visually compare. And that's important. So let's see, who's the biggest idiot in the world when it comes to Tesla? Like,
Who's the biggest bear for the longest period of time? Well,
yeah,
it's that hedge fund that went out of business.
Okay, so let's look at this, right? Who said sell right at the bottom here? Well, it was J.P. Morgan. It was Credit Suisse. It was Bank of America. It was RBC. It was Barclays, right?
Well,
back here, it was Barclays. So let's look at Barclays, right?
You know what? We like to joke around that if they want to buy millions of shares, they have to create the general public a thought process in their head to do the exact opposite. And this confirms that.
Yeah, well, so let me blow your mind here, man. Like some of these analysts, you're right. Like Citigroup, Barclays, like a lot of these guys are wrong about Tesla all the time. Let me find this is Morgan Stanley. I think I'm pretty sure this is Citigroup. Yeah. So I'm gonna click on Morgan Stanley. You notice how they add like a little star, right? I'm gonna click on Citigroup. So those two are now my favorites. I'm going to go to the analyst ratings in my chart legend here and click on the three dots. And I'm going to switch this from all ratings to only my favorites. I'm going to click apply. Right? And now I can see, are these guys truly the biggest idiots? Well, let's see. Citigroup says, sell, it rallies. Who's this? Morgan Stanley goes from hold to sell, it rallies, right? Somebody got it right at the top. Morgan Stanley said sell at the top here. He was right. For a minute, he reiterated himself. Right. And then almost at the very bottom, he says sell again. Now he's wrong. Citigroup says sell. And they're wrong. And now all of a sudden, these guys are saying sell again. Right. Morgan Stanley said sell here. Right. And price flew. So this makes it very easy for you to say, okay, I know Citigroup and Morgan Stanley are stupid. What about Bernstein?
I don't know that they're stupid. It's that they just want to buy, in my opinion.
Let me put it another way. They're just wrong, right? Like their recommendation is the opposite of what we should do.
Right.
They're good contrarian indicators.
Yes.
Right. Which is, but that's not always the case. Like Oppenheimer here, right? Seems to be a good source, right? They say buy. They say buy, right? They say buy. Like you can kind of go through each company and say, okay, I wonder what Goldman, Cancord, right? Like you can just see which ones they are. Right? This guy, was very short term. Then he looks like he got bad, right? Like he said hold right before it rallied again. He said hold at the bottom here. So this gives you an ability to actually put some intelligence to that thought process. Because truth be told, James, some of them, most of them, you're right about. Like do the opposite, and you're going to make money.
Right.
Right, but not all of them. Some of them know companies very well. I guarantee there's an analyst when we look at, like upgrades or something on Tesla, right? Like there's somebody who is consistently right about Tesla.
Right.
Right. And there's somebody who's consistently wrong, and being able to know who is who is, you know, really important, right? It can help you a lot in your trading, right? It can confirm things like up here. I mean, gosh, like whoever's like, you know, like this guy's saying sell up here, like it's hard. This was Citigroup, right? I remember seeing this and thinking they're always wrong on this stock, but look at what it's done. Could they possibly be? Maybe this is the first time they're right, right?
Yeah.
But no, they're still wrong. You know, and like you know, you start to be able to identify like who's a reliable contrarian signal and who's sometimes reliable, sometimes not, particularly depending on using them, right? And who's not reliable at all. You know, who's always right.
There's another one.
Reliable.
Another one. If you look at Novavax with their NVAX, NVAC.
Oh,
there you go.
Got it.
So you look at that. You've got all these buys. Yep. What happened?
Yeah, but you have this one guy, Michael Higgins from Ladenburg, who said sell.
Yeah, he got it right.
Yeah, so let's see what else has this guy said about it. Like, how reliable has he been? Right? You know, not really. He might be right here, but he would have had you hold. Well, I mean, he wouldn't have told you to sell.
Yeah, it was
right?
hold there, so that was good.
Back here, right? So it's kind of cool. Like you can say, okay, this guy on the other hand, like, right. He's saying buy now and it crashed, right? So first time he's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if he's going to be proven right.
Well, JP Morgan was wrong for sure on the last one.
Yeah. So here's JP Morgan. JP Morgan, said hold here. Right? At least they didn't say sell, right? And then they said buy at the very top.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is information that otherwise is hard to consistently get, right? We tried to make it easier. We are adding so much stuff like this. So, we just bought data for insider trading. So, we'll be able to give you boxes on the bottom of your chart for when the CEO, CFO are buying or selling shares.
Nice.
Right? We bought dividend splits, earnings announcements, earnings surprises, earnings estimates, right? You know, it's all going to be visible on the bottom of your chart and the sidebar in the same way. And like you'll be able to say, okay, like correlate the CEO's buying and selling activity on his own stock to the price action. Like, is it predictive or not?
Yes.
Right? Let's look at analysts. Is it predictive or not? Let's look at seasonality. Let's look at technicals, right? Let's look at the fundamentals because we're also going to plot fundamental data, right? Like number of shares outstanding, right?
Yes.
Because oftentimes like companies are diluting you by issuing options to their insiders, right? That then get dumped on the public, and it's like shadow dilution that people don't really notice quickly, right? It's kind of like dark pools; those are trades that people don't really know happen.
Yes.
Right? So we're just trying to bring all this data in. If you look at dark pool data source, I would love it.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
That's the market scanner and how these things work together. I feel like I've been talking for a while, so I should probably stop and see if there's any questions.
Yeah, you guys have any questions that you want Dan to answer about the software? Also, yeah, that would be amazing too. Coincidentally, with talking about Form 4s, if we go and we look at Amazon, no, Travis, not yet. We were talking about short volume. He said, does it show short volume? Not yet. We were talking about that earlier, and I've got a source for Dan potentially to check out for daily short volume, but they were trying to get intraday as well.
Yeah, we're trying to get real time, but we'll take what we can get, and then we'll just build on that. Like we've done that before, where we get something that's not ideal, and then keep looking for something better. I'd rather give people something than nothing. So we'll look at it.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that's something that I look at. I mean, silver was a massive short squeeze. They were getting so stubborn. It was like Tesla, where they had for the past 50 days, it was over 72%. And I have data, not on all the stocks, obviously, but on particular ones where I track it every single day. And I can see if that short volume is building or it's descending. which is going to be better than short interest because this is daily information, not 2 weeks old, which short interest is. So,
are you still trading silver? Are you still in it?
I do have a small position. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you're getting up to this like volume resistance, this POC, VWAP level stuff at like around $30.
For sure. Well, what I was also looking at is when you go back and you look at it on the 5-year chart, or even more, sorry, on the all year, like all of its time frame, it went down to $8.50 in 2009 and then up to $48 in 2011. So we're looking somewhat at the economic scenario of that time frame. And so seeing it at 25, if it goes up, what, 6 times that, we'll be looking at 150 in roughly 2.5 years.
Yeah, I mean it's strong. Like, and I was looking at platinum the other day. Have you looked
Yep.
at that at all?
I have PLTM. I have a little position there too.
PLPM, I'm not sure. Oh, I didn't realize this existed.
There you go. Something new.
Cool. All right, cool. Did anyone have any questions or anything?
Just was the short volume, and then someone said silver got the squeeze. I got out before I got killed. Well, good thing, Julia. All right, and if you guys have any questions, I did put the link in the chat. I will also put it in the comments below if you guys want to try Trendspider out free for a week. You can test it out. You can get in touch with Dan or Jake or Jonathan there if you guys have questions about it. They're great people to work with as far as data providers. You can see they really take comments back from their users and try to go ahead and make that available as well. So if there's something that you see that you'd like to have added in, shoot them. Someone is saying, how is the alert system? Text, email, pretty much every way, Travis. You can have it on screen, you can have it email you, and you can have it text you. Dan's pulling it up right now.
The alerts are so two things about alerts. One, they're entirely cloud based, right? So when you create your alert on your computer, you can then turn your computer off. You can go play video games, right? It doesn't matter because the alert does not need your internet, doesn't need your computer to run. The alert lives on a computer in the cloud with a high-speed market data connection. And in fact, the data speed into the alerts is like several times faster than what actually you see on your chart because it doesn't have to display it on your screen. It can just be numbers in the memory of a computer, right? They're just flying out. So you'll often get the alert on your phone before your chart even updates, right? To show that particular condition has been met. The other thing to highlight is they come through text, they come from email, they come through in-app notification. That includes a visual pop-up, browser push notification, and audio notification. And finally, there's a webhook version. So if you're like a nerd like me and you want to use a Trendspider alert to trigger an automatic buy or sell signal through a trading bot somewhere, you can do that as well. And you can configure alerts here under account settings, right? And it's nice because it will watch things whenever the market for them is open. So keep in mind, if you create an alert on a crypto coin or a forex pair, right, or something like that, then that alert could go off in the middle of the night, right? You'll get a text message. So you can also silence it if you want, right? So you say, leave me alone between these times. Leave me alone on weekends, right? So it gives you the ability to kind of control when you get bugged or not. And then the webhook thing is really nice for developers. The other thing is there's multiple types of alerts. I only showed you the one right now, which is the one where you write different trend lines or indicators or horizontal levels, create them this way. But there's also a type of alert called a multi-factor alert that can use conditions just like the scanner that can use multiple time frames. So you can say like RSI is below 50 on the daily and a hammer forms on the 1 hour chart, right? You got the ability to combine conditions. And both types of alerts work the same in terms of notifying you, SMS or email or whatever. The alerts are something that are going to be improving through a lot. Like we've got some cool plans for them. I can't say anything because I'm in trouble. But think of being able to run one alert on a whole bunch of different symbols at once, right? What that could lead to.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you for taking time out of your day to help demo it and explain it to everybody. It's awesome. Even some new things that I hadn't seen. especially about the analyst. Yeah, I see you checking it out now. So yeah, really, really excited to see the new features here as well. And you can get everything pretty much on your phone. I know a question that might be coming, an app version for the phone.
Yes, everybody asked me that for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I feel like a jerk because I told everybody it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. We decided to put it off a little bit, and the reason for that is we have, so we're about to start connecting with brokerages, right? Like we're negotiating with them right now. We're going to start integrating our first few brokers into the platform. When brokers are connected, it'll let people place orders, right? So you will not have to leave Trendspider to actually place a trade, right? You can just connect your broker and then place a trade, and it puts it into your broker, right? The main reason we want a mobile app is not to give you charts on your phone, because people don't really even use charts on your phone, right? It's to give you a way, like, well, we will give you charts on your phone, obviously, but like that's not the reason why we're doing it. The reason we're doing it is so that you can then automate trading, right? So you can say, like on a Sunday, look at a chart, determine your levels, decide that you're going to go long if it breaks this level, you're going to go short if it breaks this level, configure your order ticket, define your exit criteria, like set it all up ahead of time and press play, right? And then you can be in the store on a Tuesday at like, 1 p.m. buying dinner for the week or food for the week, and your phone will go off through our mobile app and say, hey, your trade is ready for you, right? Like literally saying, like, do you want to take it, yes or no? If you say yes, it will then automatically tell Trendspider's server in the cloud to log into your brokerage account and place the order. And when the order is filled, let you know and start to monitor all the exit conditions that you predefined ahead of time. And repeat that process if any of those exit conditions trip, including one exit condition that would be your like emergency brake, like get the fuck out, sorry, warning, get you out, right? So like that's why we decided to hold off, because the real reason we want to build a mobile app is to give people a way to approve or decline trades that are automatically being placed on their behalf by the platform, and like trades that they set up ahead of time that are being executed for them, right? And like that's why we think our mobile app will be different. Like anybody can make a mobile app that shows you a chart. Like I just don't want to, build something that already exists. I want to build something that's like, truly unique that will actually, change the world for people, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think everything that you have done is very innovative in the charting world, and it's awesome. I mean, even being able to quantify the analysts into a chart form is very cool. Very, very cool.
Thank you. As Jane mentioned, if anyone wants to try it out, use Jane's link and use the coupon code SAVE or thanks 35. Right. When you use those two together, you get 35% off for a whole year on any plan. And you get 7 days for free. And if you want more time on a trial, just drop me a note. My email's just dan@trendspider.com. And I'll give you an extra week, no problem. And, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I appreciate y'all listening to me ramble here for what seems to be an hour at least.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan. And we'll definitely be in touch. I will shoot you that link for the short volume.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care, okay?
Right.
Bye, Jane.
Bye. Thanks again. Bye. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today for the midday market update. A little awesome time with Dan to talk about Trendspider, all the amazing things that it does have to offer. I have gone ahead and put the link and that coupon code THANKS35 for the 35% off. I'll check it with him to see how long that is going to be going into effect to save the 35%. So test it out. You can try it free for a week, and if you want an extra week, just shoot them an email and they will go ahead and give you that extra time if you need it. I will see you guys all at 12:15 tomorrow. We will do a flow trade demo as well. I'll see if I can get Dan from Flow Trade to join us as well, because it was pretty cool to have that happen today. And then he can really show us the ins and outs of it as well. And until then, carpe profit, seize those profits one trade at a time. Have a great afternoon. Bye.